local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Stations that always keep you in the zone.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Catch all of the spring and summer action of Cleveland Cobras minor league football on Western Reserve Radio. Follow the Cobras as they compete against teams from around the region in pursuit of a Tri-Point Football League championship. And if you're looking to continue your football career after high school, college, or even the pros, or to be part of the Cobras staff, go to Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football. Or contact owner Jesse Caldwell at 330-416-3442. Be a part of the excitement of Cleveland Cobras football.
It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark is back. 330-707-4202 to get in. Talk Sports is the number. The station is Western Reserve Radio. Have we got a lot to get to today, Dave Clark? Coaching vacancies in the NFL. What happened with Rand Carthon? I'll get to that debacle with Tennessee. I know that's a little old.
But
we didn't get to it, but we always love to get to that. First, he does get an extension. He's done a great job. They give him an extension. And then they fire him. That makes sense. And then I don't think his wife is real happy
I don't blame her.
She said something about, well, there were some lies. Shocking. Shocking. We used to play Backstabbers, our song.
Yeah, because I definitely think it was some backstabbers.
I think there's a lot going on about in
How
Tennessee.
do you give a guy extension and then all of a sudden you don't like what he does?
Yeah.
Now that doesn't even bode well.
No.
At all.
We'll get into that. We got to get to the other coaching vacancies. Talk about Dallas's debacle, to say the least. Get to see if Dion's going to be a Cowboy head coach. Got to get to the playoffs. Got a big weekend for NFL and college. Buckeyes are Monday after the playoffs. Maybe they should play it before the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what happens is that you get the conference finals figured out Sunday night, and people need a day or two to kind of digest it. And you got Buckeyes Monday night playing Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think if you talk to Mad Dog Russo talks about that. He thinks that college should put it before the NFL game, like pick it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Thursday night before the divisional series. This is the divisional series. We got 4 games this weekend. Houston and Kansas City today at 4:30. Tonight is Washington at Detroit, 8 o'clock Fox. Houston, Kansas City's ESPN, ABC. And then tomorrow, starting at 3 o'clock, we've got the Rams at the Eagles on NBC. And then 6:30 tomorrow is maybe the biggest game of the weekend as far as the closest, or if you look at the point spreads, the most competitive game, but you know how that always goes.
Yeah,
you never
know in this thing, yeah.
Baltimore at Buffalo. Baltimore is actually the favorite. Buffalo, the home dog, getting a point. So that's 6:30 tomorrow night. And then roll Monday at 7:30 when we're going to be 0 degrees here and under a cold warning starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have the Buckeyes in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Dome taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 8-point, is it 8? Yeah, 8.5 point spread.
And it might have dropped. No, I think I thought I seen it go up.
Yeah.
I thought it went to 9.
I think it did.
I did.
I think let me look. I had this on.
It's like Buffalo's was 1.5 and it went to 1 now.
Right.
So
the Buckeyes opened at 9.5 and now it's 8.5. So it went down.
So it did go down. Okay.
1. So we'll talk about those games and give it our best shot. We were doing good last week in our wild card, but then the Sunday games and the Monday game didn't go our favor.
Right.
You were 2-4, and Bob and I, Gessler filling in, was 3-3. We obviously, you took the Steelers.
Yeah, I thought they would I didn't think they'd win. I just thought it was going to be that.
In Baltimore,
yeah, I thought it'd be that game that you usually get when they play.
Yes.
And wasn't it spread like 9 or something like that? I think it was.
Yes,
it was something high. So I said, high. I thought Baltimore definitely beat them by at least 7. I thought they'd beat them, but I thought it would be one of those nipping. There was no contest.
No,
they got dominated.
They were dominated. We'll get to talk, and we'll talk Tomlin.
Yeah, they could move on from Tomlin if they want. I doubt that's not how they do it. But let's say if they did want to move on from, doesn't matter. He's going to have a job within 15 minutes.
Not happening.
Yeah,
not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think they would do it anyway.
Not happening.
That's not how they do business. But if that happened, so some kind of miracle, he would get a job so quick it wouldn't even make your head spin.
Rooney has come out on this, and he is adamant. Tomlin is the coach.
Right.
Period. Not trading him.
Yeah. That's the thing. They wasn't talking about firing someone. That trade
They
stuff.
talk about this trade thing. And ESPN's throwing it up there on TV, on the scroll. And they asked Tomlin goes, no, it's not going to happen.
No.
And Rooney's not doing it. You see, this is what cracked me up. Last year, when the same chatter, and this is like every year, comes out with Tomlin, we're going to fire him, we're going to get rid of him, we're sick and tired, make the playoffs, we're out in the first round. Well, the team's not that good. I mean,
they're competitive. They're a good team, but they're not elite. They're not at the upper echelon.
They're not the upper. Yeah. They're middle good. And they're a good team, not a great team.
Right.
He wins. I think he gets the most out of his talent. I think he's really a good coach.
Yeah, they just don't have.
They just don't have
all of what they had before. Right. They just don't have.
They don't have it. They don't have the talent.
You know, I mean, and number one is they don't have the younger Ben Roethlisberger or any of those guys. You got guys that are older or too young, just not ready yet. They don't have the quarterback one, and then the team around. The offensive line used to always be a dominant force with the Steelers. That's not the case anymore. Hasn't been for a few years.
They haven't had a good line.
They haven't had a big time line for quite some time. So that's where the Steelers made their team, is on both sides of the ball with their offense and defensive line, controlling games, and they can't do it offensively. The defense can hold up as much as they can, but when you're out there all day, you may not hold up as well as you used to. So Pittsburgh fans need to quit being delusional and just understand that Mike Tomlin is working with less than a lot of other teams are, and he gets the most out of his players.
He does.
He can. They're going to have to do a better job this year, though. They're going to have to go to free agency. They're going to have to draft right. They usually do. Their
drafting is always.
It's always been pretty good. They just got to strengthen some areas, and they right back in it. They're always in the mix. Who thought there was even going to be a playoffs team? People saying they wouldn't even make playoffs.
They were supposed to be at the bottom. Right. All the preseason had them in last place. Most of them, I should say.
It was either them or Cleveland last.
Everybody that put them, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, usually had Pittsburgh fourth, Cleveland third, or vice versa.
Yep.
But I didn't see any preseason prediction that had Pittsburgh, third place, better than third.
No.
I didn't see anybody having them first or second in that division.
Nobody, never, in front of Baltimore or Cincinnati.
No.
They had those two at the top. Sometimes I seen Cincinnati, and others I seen Baltimore, but never Pittsburgh.
I've not seen Pittsburgh. I actually saw Cleveland rated higher than Pittsburgh. Yeah. A couple people had, I believe, Cleveland winning the division. But bottom line is, no. Tomlin's not going anywhere. Rooney's not getting rid of him. He's his coach. Pittsburgh won't fire their coach. They usually retire. The only where Tomlin goes if Tomlin decides I don't want to coach anymore, and then he retires from coaching.
Yeah.
And goes on TV. But as long as he wants to coach, he's their coach.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. So Pittsburgh fans have to suck it up for another year.
Yeah.
Take a chill pill and relax a little bit because he's their guy.
Right. Now he's won Super Bowl, right?
He's got one. He lost
How
one.
Many did Cowher have? 1, 2, right?
Right. Cowher had one.
And they did the same. Well, no, they didn't do the same. It's worse now, it seems, with Tomlin. But, you hear that chatter, Cowher, get rid of him because they couldn't get,
they couldn't get to the there, Super Bowl.
And he finally won one. That's what I thought it was Cowher. I didn't think he won 2. I thought it was just one. I mean, they both very good coaches. I like both of them. It was just that hard edge that Cowher had. I said, they may not. And Tomlin just came in with that professional attitude. That team was still rough neck as always. So,
yeah, they'll probably have to do something with Pickens because I don't think Pickens wants to be there. So, they'll probably you might see a personnel change here and there. But,
I think Tomlin's going to get rid of some.
Yeah,
because you got some things that's detrimental to the team. And Pickens is a great talent, but his attitude and things that happen are detrimental. Yeah. And you may have to just, something about, hey, Tomlin's going to have to do some examining within and find out what cancer is in the locker rooms with the wide receivers. Because I think about it, I look at the great, and I will say he was great, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
He was nuts. You see what problems he caused. And then I look at now Pickens, but not even before Pickens, Deontay Johnson, who was a stabilizer type guy. You looked at him in the slot after Brown was gone. I said, "Oh, this guy's good." He's been cut 4 times.
I know.
He's it's unbelievable. Something is not right. I don't know. These guys be divas, big time divas. They cause problems. You have divas all over, but sometimes they don't cause issues. These guys cause issues.
Major.
And yeah, you got to get rid of Pickens. And they've always been good at drafting receivers, so they can get somebody and
they always
ship him away.
Well.
Oh, yeah, they know how to do it.
Especially wide receivers.
Yeah.
They find these guys.
I don't know how they do it.
Who knows where, but they bring these guys in.
And they be good.
And they're always good. Let's look at the other. So we're talking about a opening that's not there, even though there's fans that want an opening in Pittsburgh. There's not an opening in Pittsburgh. Right. There's not going to ever be an opening in Pittsburgh. Well, there will be when Tomlin decides to retire.
Right.
But as long as he wants to coach there, Rooney's letting him coach.
Yeah.
I
mean, he would have to be 3-14.
Well, that's just it.
A few years in a row.
No.
He would have to. Right. He'd have to just fall apart. Other than that,
and I don't know if Rooney would fire him. I think Rooney would still give him a chance. And this is the other thing. Talking about giving a coach his chance, let's go slide over to the other end of the spectrum. We have Rooney, some people think too patient. Then you've got the Raiders and the Patriots. So obviously the Patriots made their hire. They went after Rabel. I'm convinced the only reason why he fired Mayo is because he wanted Rabel. He could have had it Rabel last year. Why he just didn't hire Rabel, but Kraft was going to come out. He never interviewed anybody last year. He handed that job to Mayo as he was the heir apparent, and it was like this is the career path. This is how we've all got this set up. Mm-hmm. Is Gerard Mayer is going to be our coach? I just remember we're not interviewing anybody else. We're just promoting him within. And he got around that. He didn't have to worry about the Rooney rule because Gerard Mayo was black. So he just said, no, we're promoting him within. So everybody's fine. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, he comes out and he fires him. And we knew the team wasn't that good on the roster. So,
but they was competitive.
But they were competitive.
They were competitive.
The guys played hard for him. And they had a good young quarterback, Drake May, who seemed to be coming in and filling in good. So I thought to myself, well, it's the same thing with what the Raiders did with Pierce. He was there a year and a half. They gave him a job last year. He had a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes ahead and he promotes Pierce, but you knew he had no quarterback. So, and you're just, when you have no quarterback in the NFL, you're not going to do well.
Right.
And the other thing too is Pierce and Mayo had no head coaching experience.
Right.
So do these owners think that these guys are just going to come in and turn on a switch and say, okay, I know everything what a head coach is supposed to do? No, they realize that these young guys it's a training, it's a learning, and you're going to you're going to make mistakes because you're a rookie head coach. You've never been a head coach before.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to kind of learn. And you think these guys are just not going to come in
They're not going to
know everything and know exactly what to do as head coaches. No.
Yeah, because they talked about clock management. It's all kind of things they was going to make. I know they was going to make that kind of mistake. They haven't been a head coach. So you give them a chance. The worst thing could have happened to Pierce was the years before, the 2 years before, when, I can't think of his name, was their assistant, took over and took the Raiders all the way to Bisaccia. Took them all the way, and they made a mistake and not kept him.
And they brought in McDaniels.
And they brought in McDaniels.
That's the mistake.
And then there's a mistake because what happened is for Pierce, they seen it. Okay, we got another guy that's got these guys playing. We can't make that same mistake we made before, so we'll just give it to him. We'll give it to Pierce. And that's the biggest mistake that happened for him. It was fortunate. Hey, I got a coaching job, but it was unfortunate because he had to be successful. And when I say successful, not that he had to win so many games, get to the playoff, but let's say he would have went 8-9, 9-8. I think he would have still been on board because they had no quarterback. But on top of that, they had no running backs either.
Right.
They needed if they had a top-notch running back, and then you didn't have that quarterback, you can try to play action, live off of that. But there was no semblance of a running game. So, hey, you just send the dogs after the quarterback, and they had no chance. They did compete for Pierce, though, and they said that he did not lose the locker room. Guys were upset when he was fired.
That's the point. The point is the players, he had no...
And he had a lot of injuries.
He had a lot of it, but he had no quarterback.
None.
You can't, I don't care who you are in the NFL, you cannot win on any level with no quarterback.
You know what else I thought too? I thought Pierce, I don't know what he's thinking, but I do believe, you don't know what talk goes on, but I think he was forced in to a part of me thinks this. When they got Gardner Minshew and they paid that money for him, they paid pretty good money for him coming over. I thought he was forced to start him. And I thought he shouldn't have. I thought he still should have went with Aiden O'Connell because he played well for him down the stretch. And and the guy, they were saying he was looking start him. And then if he can't play, bring Gardner Minshew in then. He's always been better from that role. Come over and have to take over because of injuries, but not start him. And I think that was the mistake because Aiden O'Connell never could get into any kind of rhythm. And Minshew was just a mess as a start off the top. And you can't do that when you don't have no real upper echelon quarterback. So I mean, I'm sure they're going to try to get one this year in some kind of way. And I do believe that, especially now, to be honest with you, with Brady being a part of the ownership now, and they're giving him a big role in it, you think he's not going to be looking for a quarterback? He's going to be all over that. Some kind of, even if it's a veteran, he's going to be looking for somebody they can stabilize that.
That's what here's the point. The point is, when you look at what's available out there in the quarterback landscape, there aren't a lot of quarterbacks that you could say, I could bring this quarterback in and he's going to be a difference maker. I don't believe you have any difference-making quarterbacks coming out of college and coming in the free agency. Maybe Kirk Cousins could be coming off the Achilles a year. Rodgers could potentially be a free agent.
Yeah.
If you listen to what all the rhetoric coming out of the Jets. Get to the Jets. The Jets are interviewing everybody for that job. They've interviewed more candidates, so it's wide open.
Yeah, even for the GM job.
You better be careful. One of those spam calls on your cell could be the Jets.
It might be.
They might be calling you. I'm just saying they could be. It could be.
Yeah,
anything's possible.
Well, that's
the Jets because they have opened up. I'm looking through, and I'm reading the New York Post. That's got all the sports and all the Jets stuff, and the writers are good. The sports writers are really good, and they're just like they're rattling off all the people that have coming in and interviewing for the Jets.
Right.
It is literally open interview. I mean, they are interviewing. I could start going through the list of the names. Josh McDowell,
Josh McDowell.
Yeah, he's interviewed. They're looking at him. They've interviewed, I think, just about everybody.
Yeah.
Now, rumor has it, if you think, if you believe in rumors, when you think about it, but there are the Detroit Lion defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, that's who he's drafted by the Jets.
He's drafted by the Jets. Rumors are out there that he could be the lead guy for the job. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Great coordinator with the Lions has done a fantastic job. So obviously you've got maybe Aaron Glenn going to the Jets, but they're interviewing a lot of other candidates. So who knows what Johnson's doing? He's a kind of the wild card. Davis with the Raiders, who knows? There was Deion's name came up.
Mm-hmm.
Now it looks like Deion could be going to the Cowboys.
They're trying hard.
We don't know what Jerry's doing. Jerry's interviewing evidently a fair amount of different people. So think they're already speculating Deion could be the guy. Yeah. Robert Saleh's name is coming. He's all over.
Yeah, he's with the Cowboys too a little bit, a couple of times.
There's also a report that the San Francisco 49ers are willing to make Robert Saleh the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league. They want
bring him back
and pay him like a head coach.
Well, he might take that.
And so
he did have that defense.
He had a defense humming.
Yes. I mean, he probably fit right back in. Most of all the guys are still there, his veteran guys. So,
I mean, maybe they consider bringing him back.
Yeah.
And like I said, the article said that they were considering making him the highest paid defensive coordinator in football. So, but now his name has been with the Cowboys. Someone make the crack. Do you think the Jets would rehire him?
Yeah, I
don't think that's going to happen. Hey, with the Jets, I don't rule anything out.
Well, those exact words were said. The show to always be talking about on here that I listen to on Sirius XM is Moving the Chains.
Yes.
And the guy, Irwin, I forgot his first name, him and Jim Miller, who used to be an NFL quarterback.
Right, Jim Miller, right.
Yep. They talk. Now, he's an executive in the NFL, and he gets all the inside information. And he said the guy almost couldn't stop laughing when he told me. He said he's never seen anything like this. He said, I got all the information. He said they had a list at one time, the Jets, of 29 candidates.
I believe that.
And he said, are you crazy? He said, now it was moved down to 15. He said, you're still crazy. He said, you really should just have your top 4. He said, when he was executive with and he used to be with the Jets when they were good back in the day. And then he was with the Steelers. He said, what you do is you get 4 candidates, your top 4.
Right.
You go with those guys, and then you narrow it down quickly after that, because you'll know.
Yeah,
hey, this guy doesn't fit this, or he might thinking about another job. Now you're down to 2 candidates, and that's all you got to do. And boom, you pick your guy. He said you're never going to. He said they had 15 candidates for head coaching job and 19 for the GM job. He said that's like getting a deck of cards and just say, I picked this one, and he said that's just insane to do that. He said it's going to be turmoil if you're doing it that way. Over and over, just repeating the same mistakes.
The Jets have a unique, and I'll call it unique, reporting structure. Most of the NFL, at least all the ones that I know, have the GM. The head coach reports to the GM, and then the GM reports to the owner or the president, and then the president to the owner, depending on how the owner wants it, how close the owner wants to be to the football day to day. Some owners aren't.
Yeah.
They hire like the president of football op.
Yeah, so they don't have to be on
to them. They don't want to be involved with the minutia. They like to just sit there and shake hands, and they're not interested in the grind.
And some of them are smart enough to know, hey, I'm just not a football guy.
And right.
And I'm out of this.
I've got a business to run. I'm a multi-billionaire, and I have all my money and all. I have other things to do, but this is kind of like my sidekick. I like to do it, like the dabble, but I let all the football people, and I don't know that much about the data nut and bolt because I've got other things. So therefore, I've got either the president of football operations and then the GM, and they take care of that. Mm-hmm. And then there's the Jerry Jones, who not only is the GM and owner, and he's everything. He wants to coach the team.
Yeah. Oh, I know he does.
And we'll get to that.
Ever since the Jimmy Johnson, he wanted to be the coach. So that he
wanted to coach the team.
And he did at times, I believe. I believe that's why Parcells, I think he butted in.
Yep.
And Parcells said, I can't take this, and but didn't bring that out like that.
Right. No,
to leave.
Parcells never said that.
No,
but
I think he would have stayed a lot longer. Especially a franchise like that,
right?
Dallas, yeah, you're going to stay longer because you know you could win there. But if you got somebody meddling in what you like to do, you're not going. And he's not just a no nonsense guy, so he's not going to be dealing with that.
Right.
So out the door he went.
So I mean, when you really break it down, is you've got the Jets, and the Jets have a different reporting structure. The GM and head coach report to Woody Johnson, the owner. Mm-hmm. So there's no, I mean, I guess the thing is, if the head coach has got a problem, then Woody gets involved, and then somehow the GM's got to get involved. And so you kind of have a constant, the GM said one thing, coach said another thing. What is it? You know how you get into these situations, and then decisions are made for personnel. You could imagine that there could just be a lot of problems there. And then you have the Jacksonville situation that nobody likes Trent Baalke. At least that's what we're told.
And everywhere he's been, it seemed like he
got hardball fire in San Francisco, and that didn't go well. And he's had his coaches in Jacksonville fired, but he stays.
Yeah.
We'll come back. That's the first quarter in the book. Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. Quick timeout. Back after this.
Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard, or call 234-254-8532.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Let's be real. The odds of a high school athlete getting a college scholarship and making it to the pros are pretty slim. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to dream of becoming a pro athlete, even a famous one. But that's not why I play. My reason why? I love the competition.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to challenge myself.
My reason why is love for the game.
And hey, if we don't make it to the pros or onto the cover of Sports Illustrated, that's okay, because there's every reason to believe we'll excel in something even bigger than sports. We'll excel in life.
There are lots of great reasons to play high school sports. Tell us your reason using the hashtag #MyReasonWhy.
This message presented by the NFHS and the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you. 330-707-4202 to get in and talk sports. Do it every Saturday morning here, and here is Western Reserve Radio. Few things, a few notes. not maybe directly sports related, but obviously our wishes and everything goes out to the poor people out in Southern California with the fires. That is just absolutely mind-blowing, heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
All those homes, all the poor people displaced, finding or looking for, obviously it's going to be a long time rebuild down there with all those fires and just even, just the smoke, this heat, and even the houses that aren't burnt.
Yeah.
The heat damage and the smoke damage to those houses has got to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I have relatives there and a lot of people I know. And I know we talked to our brother-in-law and he had to move. Thankfully, no, where they were at fire, but the smoke. Said, so they had to move and they had to be displaced because you couldn't stay there. You couldn't handle
breathe.
You can't breathe. Yep. And thank God, I mean, he's retired. So what he did is he moved down where his daughter stays down in Arizona and Tempe.
He went out that way.
So he went out there.
So he got away.
For a while, and so that, until they get things.
Till they get it
come back.
right.
Yeah, but that's what he had to do. He got to go back and forth, he said, and check on things and stuff. But that's where he went with his daughter. So yeah. I mean, he said it's bad. It's terrible. It's sad.
Unbelievable story, and again the tragedy and the devastation and the fires. And you look at these pictures.
Yeah,
and
I hate looking at it.
There's rubble.
Yeah.
A lot of rubble.
Right.
It's just burnt out. And I mean, you're just thinking, I was talking about the debris removal alone, all that debris they have to take out of there.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try to rebuild it someday. How do they, because
it's going to be
the soil contaminated from all of the debris? And
maybe. Yeah.
So you have to go in and
it's going to be something
I'm
to
sure they
rebuild.
have going to test that. And it's so, I mean, I'm just saying that I don't know if people are going to be able to rebuild anytime real soon, just because they've got to clean it out first.
Yeah.
And then you got to where are you going to put all the debris? Because there's so
I hate
much.
even looking at it because when they sent pictures of it and just showed, I said, that's a whole, I mean, you couldn't see what he sent was something, but just seeing the part that I seen, and he said it's all the way through, devastated all the way through. It's like entire neighborhoods or counties. It's like, it's like where we at. We're sitting here in Struthers, like the entire area of Struthers burnt down.
Yeah, it would be the entire Struthers, Poland, Canfield. You would take Boardman. You would take this whole area. You could take a of area, and then it's different areas when you look at it. But you're right. It's just. It's not, an area. It's not a street.
No,
it's streets. It's areas. It's townships, corporations, whatever that are gone, and businesses are gone. So
I mean, completely.
Yeah, completely gone.
Like you said, that's what it is. Unbelievable.
Other news out there, and then we'll get back to it. Is I just want to address there's two deaths this past week. Bob Uecker passed at the age of 90, who was absolutely hysterical.
Yeah.
Great play-by-play. One of the best play-by-play announcers baseball. People don't realize how great of a play-by-play announcer he did for the Milwaukee Brewers all those years. Yeah. Fantastic.
They think he was just a comedian, comic.
They thought he was more of a comic comedian. He was always on Johnny Carson, Tonight Show a lot, but he was an absolutely fantastic play-by-play announcer. Mm-hmm. And then he's hysterical. Those Miller Lite commercials where they think he's Whitey Ford is just, I saw the one the other day. It's just so inherently funny. And he was such a great guy. And there's that picture that he got in trouble with Bob Gibson. That what happened is that they did the team picture and he and Bob Gibson are holding hands and they're both smiling. And this is like 1964. And it went out. And then it came back. They realized it, and then they got Gibson and him got fined and got in trouble for doing it. It was funny. Uecker was always a little crazy. Yeah, he's out there's funny. But Gibson, you thought, no. But I think Gibson had kind of a funny side to him.
Right.
And so, when Uecker went to him, Gibson was like, yeah, this sounds like, this is going to be funny. And I think they like to get back at the organization by doing it.
Yep.
And it was just such a funny. And
time.
they're sitting there, they're holding hands, doing the team picture, and they're grinning. They're smiling. Gibson and him have these smiles, and obviously they're holding hands. And it's just so funny.
Yep.
Anyway, the other unfortunate passing was Gus Williams, the basketball player, the Wizard, went to USC, then was drafted in Golden State with 75, won a NBA title with the Supersonics back in 1979. He passed at the age of 71. So to rest in peace, both Gus Williams and Bob Uecker this past week, two great comedian, great baseball announcer. Uecker says he wasn't a great player, but he did hit a home run off of Sandy Koufax. And he told Koufax, he made a comment to Koufax every time he saw him. He apologized to Koufax because he goes, if I kept you from getting into the Hall of Fame because I hit a home run off you. Koufax probably just started laughing like, how could you not? But anyway, again, rest in peace, Bob Uecker, Gus Williams. This past week, they both died. But again, two great. Gus Williams was a very good basketball player. Bob Uecker was a great play-by-play announcer and obviously a fantastic comedian. And everybody, he made everybody laugh. So getting back to the coaching situation in the NFL, it's a debacle with Dallas. I think what happened there, we didn't talk about it, but Mike McCarthy wanted probably a long-term deal.
Right.
5 years. And Jerry didn't want to give him 5 years.
Right.
And McCarthy now is rumored to be the lead candidate for either Chicago or New Orleans.
Right.
So I think he knows he can get a 5-year deal with either one of those teams. If you're McCarthy, I think you're looking, if I'm him, would lean to Chicago because you got the quarterback.
Yeah.
I would want to see if I'm a candidate, I'm looking for jobs to go to.
And it's a young quarterback too.
And he's in a rookie deal.
Yeah.
Young, but he has a lot of, you could see Caleb Williams is very talented, played good this year. The team
especially at the end, he kept getting better and better.
He got better and better as the year progressed, and you could see him really coming along.
Yep.
So if you're Mike McCarthy, you got a quarterback there. So that's a good job. I mean, I would look at all these jobs, like when you start, let's look at the opening job. You got Jacksonville is a good job in that you have a quarterback that I still think Lawrence is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
You just got to deal with a GM that you don't want. Because if I'm a head coach, I want my own GM. I don't want Trent Baalke. I'm sorry. If you're a coach coming in, you want your GM and some guy you work with.
Yeah, and they may not get we'll see though.
We'll see how that goes.
The veteran coach. Some coaches, I don't know if they'll want that. Might be a young guy, college guy, or I don't know, or some assistant that, but I don't know about your veteran type head coach saying I'll go there with a guy like that. I don't know if that happened.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, not a guy like that.
I think I don't think if you're a head coach, you want to go to a team that you have a good relationship with the GM. And normally when they fire and hire these guys, like they usually with the Raiders, they fired the GM and the coach. So not only did they can Pierce, they can't.
Telesco.
Telesco was only there a year.
Well, they fired Pierce.
And then they fired him.
Yeah, and they waited a little bit and then they fired him.
Right.
I just thought if you're going to just fire them both at the same time.
Right.
That just seemed crazy anyway. I didn't, first of all, as a guy that has always been behind the Raiders, I didn't like when they got Telesco anyway. He didn't have a real high rating when he was with the Chargers.
Right.
He's a guy, he did so job there. I can't say bad.
No,
but
he was
so
average.
So
maybe.
Why would you bring that to the Raiders? You wanted to go up, and I just think things have not been. And it's nothing completely against the owner, but Mark Davis. But ever since Al has been gone, and it hasn't been the same. You got to get somebody in place. I think the best thing they did is, in all honesty, is getting Tom Brady as a minority owner, a guy that knows how to win, knows what it takes to get to be a winner, and to inject some thought process in there.
Here's a trivia question. Who has coached the most games with the Raiders? That answer
probably might be Al Davis. You mean had to coach the long?
Yeah. It's John Madden.
Is it Madden? I was going to say, I also thought Flores too.
Flores is second.
Yeah, because
Flores is second. John Madden has coached 142 games with the Raiders from 1969 to 1978. And then Flores was actually with the Raiders from 79 to 87. Okay. He's coached a total of 134 games.
Okay. That's your two guys, longest tenure guys right there.
And I guess that's I should add that's regular season. Then if you add in there if you add the 16 games Madden has as playoff, that's 16 plus 142, that's 158.
Right.
And Flores has 11 more games playoffs. So after that,
no, it's always been at third is probably Al Davis.
I believe the third.
Oh, I forgot about Art Shell.
Art Shell looks like Art Shell would be third.
He was there for quite a few.
Yeah, Art Shell was there and then came back, and Art Shell basically coached. Let's see. Yeah, I know he has. Make sure I've got this right because Art Shell was there. And then they fired him, and they brought him back. He has 92. He coached from 89 to 94. Then he coached in 2006, went 2-14. They fired him. So, but if you look at the coaches, really, since let's say since 2000, Gruden coached in 98 to 2001. Then you've got, count that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Gruden, 12, 13, 14. So since the year 2000, they've had 14 coaches.
And then look up when Al Davis really started to get sick and the things happened was right in that era.
It was right around 2000.
Yep. And after that, it was no stability because he would get a guy that would be there for a while and then say, hey, I'll retire. Or if he did fire him, most of the times, a lot of guys just retired. He didn't have to fire him except Shanahan.
Shanahan was the one that didn't work out well. He brought in Art Shell for 6 years after Shanahan, 94, and then that's after 94 is when it was a little rocky because Mike White had the job from 95, 96. Joe Bugle had it for 97. Gruden did have it from 98 to 2001. He brought in Bill Callahan for 2 years. Callahan did get him to was an AFC champion, 2002. Then Norv Turner was there, our buddy Norv.
Yep.
Back to Art Shell, Lane Kiffin, Tom Cable. Then it started again.
Yeah, from then.
From 2003, 2001, Gruden was there. And then when Gruden left, that's when after 2001, it started to get kind of rocky.
Yep.
They just didn't know what they were they didn't know what they were doing. So bottom line is they just had coach after coach. It's been a carousel of coaches. Again, Antonio Pierce, a year and a half, coached 26 games. He brings in Josh McDaniels. He lasts 25 games.
He's a disaster.
He was a disaster. The guy they probably should have kept was our buddy, our favorite guy, is Bisaccia, who was 7-5. And again, got him into a playoff game and lost a brutal close game to the Bengals in the playoff on a whistle that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Probably should have won the game. So Bisaccia was probably the guy they should have kept and just promoted him as head coach. They probably would have been better off because the players he was an older guy. The players related to him.
Yep.
But he gets rid of him and he goes to Josh McDaniels, and then it's more chaos.
More chaos. And then they wanted to get out of that chaos. And when they got Pierce, the players were excited.
Yeah.
And then they were still playing hard for him, but he was playing behind, as they say, behind the sticks.
Right.
He was way behind
because he had no quarterback.
No running game, defense on the field all day.
All day.
And see, their defense was like middle of the pack to the upper last year because they did well in the offense. And then this year, no quarterback, offense terrible. Defense is on the field all the time. Not the same.
Well, they got rid of, I know they didn't like, for a reason they got rid of Derek Carr. All right, Carr's a mid quarterback. He's not great, but he's not bad.
Yeah, I would have kept him.
I would have kept him.
Yes, until I get
because you had then you could have drafted a quarterback, kept Derek Carr, but go after a younger quarterback guy in the draft
and develop
him, but then have Derek Carr because at least Derek Carr is a good enough
he was
quarterback,
especially behind the talent that he had. He kept that going. Made no sense.
Again, another dysfunctional, and then the Cowboys, another dysfunctional job. The Jags, it's a dysfunctional situation until you get. I hate to say, but I think you got to get rid of Trent Baalke. If you're going after a coach, you got to bring in the GM and a coach. But Khan probably won't do it. He hired Urban Meyer, and Urban didn't make it a year. Why did he even hire him? Yeah. See, one thing I've said this before: when a coach or owner, when they hire a coach that doesn't make it a year or barely a year, that's the owner's fault. The owner screwed up. It's not the coach, it's the owner.
Yeah.
You hire a guy and bring him in for 1 year and fire him after 1 year or a year and a half like Pierce. That was the owner. That's the owner's mistake, not the guy you hired.
Right.
Because Urban's not. When Jacksonville hired Urban, I knew that was not going to be a good move because Urban's a college coach. And Urban doesn't get, evidently from what we're told, Urban is very hard on the assistants. He's a hard coach and he manages the assistants hard. Can't do that in the NFL.
No, and he can't talk to him the way a couple of them that said he was talking to him. That's not going to work with these guys. You can't talk to them any kind of way.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do it that way.
No. You might do that with your college assistants, guys like that, but you can't just come and the way he berated when they said something.
Allegedly.
Yeah. There was a couple of them that was getting ready to do something to him.
But I guess the point of it is I guess these jobs are open for a reason.
Yeah.
New Orleans Saints is not necessarily a bad organization, but they're in cap hell.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They are absolutely, they are just, and they have been for a couple years, but they're just literally in a box they can't get out of, a lot like the way the Cleveland Browns are in the box with Deshaun Watson's contract.
Yeah, if they keep, you got to have somebody there that know how to do some creative things. The Browns have done some things.
Well,
it's crazy. They might even be in a good, I'm going to tell you something, it's sad what happened to Deshaun with the, situation with his surgery.
And now it's back, right?
Yeah, they tore it again, retore it or whatever.
Right. And now I guess they're
then they got pictures of him not having his boot on and this. Now that will cancel out. If they take that to court and look at that, they got to look at everything first, though. That can cancel out that contract.
Right. They might have an out.
Yep. That might happen.
My experience always tells me, though, they never fare well in court. They'll come to an agreement, agreement. The question, the question, though, you have to ask yourself, okay, that aside, how does that impact your cap hit and your dead cap hit? Yeah. Because as of right now in 2025, the dead cap hit on Deshaun Watson is still $172 million.
Yeah.
Next year, people think, okay, after 2025, you think no. You're not done.
No,
because the dead cap hit is $99 million, and the cap hit is $72 million, like it is this year and last year.
I don't think you can get away from the cap hit or the debt.
No,
just the amount. That's all they can see is trying to get that reduced with the situation that goes on.
And I don't know how that. I don't know how
they
that
settle on something. It might reduce it, but they're not going to get from under it.
No, if they get out of the contract with the injury and the rehab, and I'm not sure they will, but if they do, they might be able to, or insurance covers it or whatever they do.
Yeah.
I still think the problem's ultimately going to be, I don't think it's going to impact the dead cap number. In other words, the number's not going to be any different. They may get out of not paying him, but as far as the league is going to look at it, is no, your dead cap hit will be 172 next year and 99 million the following year. That's the $1 million question is if they succeed in getting out of paying him because if he wasn't rehabbing properly and that works, which I'm still not sure. But then ultimately what's going to happen with the dead cap money? Because the only thing that got Denver out of their $85 million dead cap hit with Russell Wilson, they drafted the quarterback who happened to work, Bo Nix, and he's under the rookie deal.
Right.
So what Cleveland will have to do this year is you're going to have to probably draft a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I think you have to.
You don't have any choice. Hopefully that quarterback is the person that you can ultimately turn the reins to and is a lot, turns into like a Bo Nix and can win games for you. And then you're paying him less money. And then you can basically salvage yourself from the dead cap hit you're going to suffer with Watson. Now, you're not going to get rid of Watson. That's what cracks me up. People think, oh, he's not playing for Cleveland anymore. He may not play, but he's still on the team because they can't get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they don't want him there, now, what happens with the rehab and how that goes down to court? Historically, it's hard to get out of those things. I'm just saying that if this goes to a court or an arbitrator, historically, when you look at the way these arbitrators rule,
it does.
They usually rule in favor of the player.
Yeah. Only thing they said this situation is a little unprecedented towards other things that have went to court.
Right.
Because they're showing where he actually violated what he should be doing. It's a big difference from the other things that's been in court. So that they can get rid of him. They can release him and everything.
But do they still get the dead cap hit?
I think they still going to get some kind of dead cap hit. Even if it's not that amount, they're going to get something.
See, I think
there's no way they're getting out of it. Yeah, they may lower it.
The question's going to be, that's going to be the question is, I don't know how the league looks at that as far as dead cap money. He still may get whacked. And that's the thing that Cleveland's got to worry about. I think he can't play. I don't think he's going to play. He's not playing next year because the Achilles is shot. Even if they can get rid of him, the question's going to be, he's done. He's not going to play. He's not any good to start.
Right.
And there's this, and he's got this Achilles. I don't even know if he can play at all because I don't know if it's a permanent issue. It could be permanent.
Right.
So he may not play, but how do they get? The question is, if you're a Cleveland Brown fan, what about the dead cap money? That's
that's why I was listening to that show. That guy, that's how I kind of think of his name, Steve Irwin. He's the one that said that it's unprecedented. And it may happen where I said, he don't think, same thing I said, dead cap. He don't think they can get away from that, but it can be lowered.
Reduced.
It can be reduced and it would help the Browns out a whole lot. They can release him because he actually violated something. So they can release him from, Yep.
He's not, I don't think he's going to play another down. The only question's going to be what happens with the dead cap money.
Yeah, that's their main issue. And that's
their main issue because he's not going to be able to play. I think, and then the question's going to be what happens with the dead cap hit.
And what pick are they?
I think they are 2.
Okay. And
Tennessee's 1, they're 2, and the Giants are 3.
Okay. They can. We know the top quarterbacks, but I thought even if they were 5th, 6th, I wouldn't be concerned because last year they talked about Caleb and Jaden. Bo Nix and Penix were actually talked about maybe the top of the 2nd round, if you remember.
Yep.
They wouldn't looked at as first rounders, but you could see that both of them are first rounders. You said they should have been let Cousins to sit back and should have had him Penix in a lot sooner than he was.
Yeah.
So there's quarterbacks. It's like we always say, it's a crapshoot. We could talk about all the other ones, but it's probably somebody out there. It's like they say, that diamond in the rough. You just got to have some good scouting and check things out and see what happens.
Texas quarterback
Quinn Ewers is
coming out. McCord, Kyle McCord from Syracuse, Buckeye, he's coming out. So you've got those 2 coming out. Now you've got, obviously, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah,
there's your 4.
That's 4 in there.
I don't know if they're technically first rounders or not, or can you get McCord in the 2nd round?
Yeah, I think you can.
And you probably can, and you might be able to get Ewers in the 2nd round.
Yeah, you may. But you know how it's always, you got 32 teams.
But
and quarterbacks is a desperate.
They always overdraft.
Yeah. So it might be a 2nd rounder, but they'll take them in the 1st.
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, so they can get
you could have 4 first-round quarterbacks this year because we have a way to the draft. We know how that goes.
Right.
Saturday Morning Sports Page, back after this.
Your home for PAFL football is the iMedia One Network, Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
You're listening to Western Reserve Radio at westernreserveradio.com on the Live 365 network and the Live 365 app.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Saturday Morning Sports Page. It's 3rd quarter. First half in the books talked a lot about the coaching situation, and this will be an ongoing. There's 7 vacancies. 1 has been filled. Mike Rabel is the only job, or New England is the only job to fill, and that was Mike Rabel. So he is the head coach for New England, and there are 6 other positions open. We obviously talked about probably most of them. Jacksonville obviously being one, New Orleans, all these, it seems like when you look at the opening vacancies, they all have challenges. Dallas, I think, is challenged because Jerry wants to not only be the GM, and he wants to coach the team. So you have to deal with that and I don't know if that makes it a really good job or not. Now, granted, it's a high profile job, but you have an owner that just will never meddle and is, let's call it for what it is. Jerry has failed in putting a Super Bowl team together. Since Jimmy Johnson left, Jerry has never been back to an NFC conference game. And the last conference game they got in was 1995. They won the 96 Super Bowl over Pittsburgh because Neil O'Donnell didn't know that the Cowboys wore a different jersey because he kept throwing to them.
Yeah, Larry Brown made some
He
great
made Larry
money.
Brown. Larry Brown should send him a thank you card every year because he made Larry Brown an all-pro and a rich man.
Yeah,
because he kept throwing the ball to Larry Brown. He didn't realize Larry Brown was on the Raiders. He thought he was on the Steelers. So he kept throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
And then ultimately what happened was Larry Brown got a good big free agent contract back then. Larry Brown was an okay corner. He wasn't great,
right?
But he got paid like he was a great corner because Neil O'Donnell threw him the ball all the time. So it worked out for Larry Brown.
It did.
Congratulations, Larry Brown. Hopefully,
I'm not gonna hate on him.
No. Hey,
great job.
Right. Great job.
He cashed in.
On Neil O'Donnell's,
I don't know what happened to Neil O'Donnell then. He played great that season too. I remember.
Yeah, he had a great season with Pittsburgh. He just said,
that's all it takes.
He just had a horrific game against Dallas. Woo. And that was Dallas's last Super Bowl win. And that was the last time they were actually in an NFC conference game was 1995.
Yep.
So it's 30 years. You're going on 30 years there. It's 30 years since they've done anything.
It is 30, yeah.
And it's every year. There's a lot of banter. It's, again, not the greatest job in that you got Jerry involved who wants to not only GM, he is the GM, but he wants to coach the team over your shoulder. It just drives you crazy.
The best thing he did is when he did get Jimmy, and he did. Jimmy, you go ahead and do what you got to do.
He let Jimmy alone.
And they went 1-15, but he just changed. He was cutting guys for just fumbling in practice. I still remember that.
Yeah.
And also they changed that culture, and we seen what they became. And then I do believe Jerry got jealous of all the pub that he was getting. Jimmy
wanted it.
And he wanted it.
And he's been a train wreck since.
And I'm not going to Barry Switzer won. I'm not going to say
Jerry. No, that was
Jimmy's team, but I don't want to give him no credit because he did coach that team.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he had a foundation.
But he had all
of a solid team.
He had Jerry's assistant. He had Jimmy's assistants there.
Yeah,
doing all the work.
That's what I'm saying. But it's still his leadership.
But Barry was able. Switzer knew that. He knew to let these guys do their thing. I didn't have to invite. And
don't ruffle anything.
No,
he didn't
go. Right, he didn't micromanage. He stayed out and let the assistants run the team. Yep. He was the guy that got it all together. But he stayed out of the assistants' way and let them do their job with the players.
But if people remember during that year, there were some problems with Jerry and Barry when Barry started to want to do some things. Jerry didn't want him to do it. And right then he said, I just forget it. I lay back and let you do it. And the next thing you know, Barry was out. Barry just said, okay, I'm out. And then they went straight downhill.
Marcus Freeman is a candidate. Has spoken to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with going in.
So he's talked to him. I don't know if, depending on win or lose, depending on if they upset the Buckeyes, it would be an upset since they're an 8.5-point underdog. Yeah. But the point on it is, even if they play a good game, but does Marcus Freeman, if they decide to go that direction, Ryan Day, if he wins the national title, could an NFL team go after him? Maybe. I don't know. You never know with the NFL. You never know what these teams. The only thing I will basically say is, the difference between your college and your NFL, you're a college coach. That's why Belichick's is in New England. Now, North Carolina, but Chapel Bill hasn't signed the contract yet. That's out there. People are still speculating whether or not he could
Yeah,
both.
he got to pay $1 million.
Well, if he doesn't sign it, obviously, if he doesn't sign the contract,
well, they ain't paid him anything, so he's
right.
done.
He can leave. When he signs the contract, it's $10 million to get out of it by June 1st, and then after that, it's $1 million.
Yeah.
So I guess he still has a chance to get out of it if he doesn't sign it. I just don't think, personally, he wants to coach any of these teams in the NFL. I think there might be a team out there that he would like to go to, but it's not one of these teams right now, would be my take. I don't think he wants Dallas. He doesn't want the Jerry minutia. Yeah. He doesn't want to go.
Even though they're friends, I just don't think he might not want to.
He's probably talked to Parcells, and Parcells kind of told him the lowdown, so he probably doesn't want anything. He doesn't want Jacksonville because of Balky. I'm sure that's it. But I don't. Yeah, he may just not want.
He might just don't want.
But he doesn't want. Maybe he just doesn't want to coach there because they play. They want to play half the teams up in Europe. So Jacksonville does. So maybe Belichick doesn't look at Jacksonville as an appealing job. So you've got. I don't know if Belichick really thinks these jobs are that appealing, and he's going to ultimately coach in.
Even though it says, from what the report says, a lot of them it was mutual. A lot of teams weren't interested in him.
Right.
Just like as they just wasn't interested.
Well,
Atlanta was
until
some things happened, whatever, and then he fell out of favor. But teams are just wasn't looking. They're looking to go, the younger route and everything of that nature. So,
well, I think the thing too is with when Belichick became head coach of New England. That you're talking like the year 2000. Mm-hmm. It was a different landscape because head coaches were given a lot of carte blanche. And he happened to coach for Kraft, and Kraft was going to give him carte blanche to do what he wanted, and Kraft did stay out of it. And then Bill started winning Super Bowls pretty much right away. He had one bad year when he started, then he drafted Brady, and then they ultimately started to get better and win. So he only, like I said, he kind of came in, pretty much had success, and then he got total carte blanche because Kraft saw he could win Super Bowls, so he stayed away from them.
Mm-hmm.
This year, in this day and age, that's not the case. You have a GM, assistant GMs, constantly probably looking at what you do every Sunday and having a meeting Monday morning. Okay, this is what you did wrong. This is what you did right. Let's focus in on what you did wrong because you need to improve in those areas. So you constantly have meetings telling where you need to work on and get better. And you have other people that may not have ever coached football but watch film, and they're telling you what you need to do. And you're like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, but you see a film and you read something in a paper, and now you're telling me what to do. I think that's the problem you have with the NFL structures. You've got a lot of other people telling you what you need to do. Where in college, you don't have the college president doesn't come into Ryan Day and say, Ryan, I'm looking at the film here. I think you screwed up here. College president doesn't care.
Yeah.
He don't even do with Ryan Day. I mean, as long as Ryan Day is winning, he wants to go shake hands and talk. And he wants people boosters. He wants people to give to the college president needs money coming into the school. That's his focus, which it should be. So that's what he wants to do. But he doesn't care, I should say doesn't care about Ryan Day, but as long as Ryan Day's doing his job and winning games, the college president's not going to bother him.
It's a different landscape, but the thing about it, as they seen the structure now.
Well, now it's different with NIL. Right.
With NIL and transfer portal, it's almost a mini semi-pro, almost like the NFL structure.
It is.
To a certain extent. So I think Bill likes that part of it.
Right.
But he doesn't have that other part. Right. Somebody's coming down telling this or that.
You've got a GM when you look at it, Belichick has brought in Mike Lombardi to be his GM in North Carolina. And Lombardi's going to be recruiting, getting the players, doing NIL. Bill doesn't have to do that.
Right.
Ryan Day's probably got someone in Ohio State doing it.
Yeah.
The point is that's changed. But you don't have the interference from above you.
Yeah, you're not
going
to get that. Yeah.
Where you do in the pros.
That's why I think it was okay to go to college because it's similar to the pros without the headache.
Without the headache from above.
Yeah. See, he's been somewhere for 20-something years, and didn't have that.
And he didn't have
and
it.
now I'm going to have that. You probably don't want to do
And that's why I think he went to college.
Yep. And it's going to be hard to find a place that they'll say, hey, full reign, do what you want.
Not in this day and age, not with the way owners are with their money. And it seems like owners want people, they hire GMs and assistant GMs who watch and analyze data, and they want to look at metrics, and they want to tell the GM or the coach what to do because the metrics are telling you to do this. So as you're a head coach, you got to have a thick skin because you have to have a lot of people maybe second guessing you, where back when Belichick coached, you didn't have the second guessing.
And that's what you got to have, thick skin, because I would listen to them all if I was a coach.
Yeah.
And some things might be tangible that I could use, and the stuff that isn't, I throw it out. I just throw it out. It's like it never went in this month. Boom, bye. I'll act like I took, I'm going to do what I need to do, what I think is best for my football team.
That's it.
And what I see.
But when you have it in the NFL, you have somebody following up with
Yeah, I know. That's why you got to have a thick skin.
So you got to have
let it bounce off. Yeah.
So there lies your dilemma with your head coaching landscape in the NFL versus college. That's why I think Belichick's not going to go to the NFL. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to go there.
It makes me think he's still looking to a certain extent because I think that contract has been signed. And if something can work out, I think he'll come back to the NFL. But I don't know if it will.
I don't know. I just don't.
I'm just surprised he hasn't signed it yet.
I know that's interesting that he hasn't signed it.
That's very interesting. It's been months. You got to see. You could be looking for this. Something works out. You'd be like,
let's get to the NFL games we could predict. We'll look at today's game. Let's slide over to the divisional round today, Dave Clark. Let's start with the Texans at the Chiefs. -8. Chiefs are laying 8 points to the Texans. Chiefs have not really played a legitimate game. Well, Mahomes hasn't since Christmas. They've been pretty much on cruise control.
Yeah.
They didn't play Denver game.
No.
So they had that off. Then they had a week off.
Mm-hmm. They beat Pittsburgh. Who did the last time they played? Who did they beat before
Pittsburgh was Christmas.
Right. They beat somebody before. That's the last time this 2 games in a row, back-to-back games were played by the starters.
Right.
It's been a long time off.
Right. They've had.
This is an interesting one. I still think they should handle and come out. They fully healthy. They're healthy. This is the healthiest they've been.
Yeah, but they haven't played, but you're right.
You better block Anderson.
Yeah.
And if you try to double him or slide to that side, there's a guy over there that hasn't had a sack in about 4 weeks.
Speaking
Danielle Hunter.
He's
a serious pass rusher.
The team you just brought up, who they played before Pittsburgh, they beat Houston 27-19.
That's who it was. Yeah, that's it.
Houston was in the game. It was a tough game.
Yes.
Now, the only question you have here, though, is I know the weather is not going to be it's going to be a cold day.
Should be in even though it was 50-something yesterday. It's 58 degrees in Kansas City yesterday.
What is it?
They said today it might be 8 degrees. That's how fast it's going to flip.
Right.
They showed them, the announcers there, and they was out there just with their little shirt on and stuff. He says 58 degrees. It's balmy. He said, but tomorrow it's supposed to be, I thought he said like 8 degrees. Now, I don't know if that's a wind chill or something like that.
That might be wind chill. Right now, they've got it 25 degrees.
That's probably was wind chill.
Wind chill.
That's still a big difference from 58 one day to 25.
Right.
Whew. And then the game is at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, right?
4:30.
4:30. So
3:30 their time.
Okay.
So
by
they got about an hour. Right. It'll be dark at half.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be cold.
So it'll be cold second half. So the question is going to be Houston Dome, warm weather, playing up in Kansas City. And like you said, the game is going to be cold. So especially second half. So the question is going to be, actually the spread went up to 9 points. So now Kansas City is laying 9. I just looked at it.
Yeah.
So
tough.
Anyway,
that's a tough one. I kind of want to go
-9.
Kansas City in a way.
Now, Kansas City's been playing good, better than normal. The Texans, surprisingly, though, have played pretty good. Now, they ran into that rough patch, but they did win their last game against the Titans. They did have problems leading up to the Titan game. They lost 31-2 to Baltimore, but then came back the next week, 23-14 Tennessee. Then they obviously did away with the Chargers, 32-12.
I thought the Chargers were going to do something to the way that game started.
Yeah, we actually all picked the Chargers, and
they totally controlled that game.
The game was never, and they were talking about quarterback Herbert. Well, he's played terrible, but he's not going anywhere. People get going about, Herbert's got to be this, and this, and now
don't worry.
He had a bad game.
Herbert will be fine.
The team had a bad game. The offensive line had a bad game. Justin Herbert is the quarterback. He's not going. They got a lot of money invested in him, and besides, he's Harbaugh's like, hey, we'll get over it. We'll figure it out. They didn't have a running game. They don't have the best wide receivers. The Chargers have to improve their roster. They did very good with
where they went to
a limited roster. The Chargers did very good.
Yeah.
They need to improve wide receivers, and they need to get a running game. They don't really have a running game. You need to help Herbert out. You need to give him some weapons on both the running game and wide receiver. So,
and I thought they had a running game, but the problem is keeping them healthy.
Right.
Their Dobbins get banged up.
Right.
That's
their problem.
You got to get a solid guy that could be there.
So, Texans win last week by Kansas City. The Chiefs, again, really haven't played a meaningful game since Christmas when they disposed of the Steelers.
And that was no problem.
And that was no problem. Steelers were no problem last week for the Ravens. We discussed it in detail. Tomlin's staying as the coach, so people back off it. I know they like to harp. You got all the Pittsburgh people going on crazy, but
who are you going to get?
Ghostbusters. That's who you're getting. Yeah,
because there's nobody.
There's nobody out there
that's better than him.
Rooney. I already heard Rooney last year. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think if he listens to it, he laughs because when he talks about it, he says, "We're not trading Tomlin. He's our coach, and that's it. And he will be our coach. The only way he's not our coach if he decides he's not coaching and wants to retire. But he's under our contract. They gave him an extension last year. Goes nowhere. Getting back to the Texans at the Chiefs. I don't know where to go with this because 9 is a lot of points.
That's a lot.
Can the Texans keep it within 9? I don't think they can win, but can they keep this thing fairly competitive? Or do the Chiefs come in all well rested and, Mahomes and Kelsey, they're all they're all close to being 100% here, close to it.
Oh, yeah, they definitely there.
And,
just,
the Texans had a game last week, and so
they should just go all out. Don't worry about anything.
No.
As far as the Texans, I'll just play like your hair on fire, as they say. Just go ahead. You ain't got nothing to lose.
Nothing.
Yeah, 9 points.
9
I want to
points.
take that. I really do. My concern is, and people don't talk about it a lot, but Joe Mixon.
Right,
because that guy is the main cog. Well, they said
is he going to play?
They say he's going to play. He's going to still play.
Is he going to?
But that guy,
they've been back and forth.
They kept asking him about the weather. He said, "You asking me about the weather? I played in Cincinnati."
Yeah, and he played
said,
in Oklahoma.
Right. He said Oklahoma's not warm. He said it. He said Oklahoma's not warm.
No,
in the summer. He said it'd be freezing there too. So he's not worried about that weather.
He was listed as questionable,
right?
Which means translation is he's probably going to try to play. Now, how will he be 100%? No. Will he be able to perform? That's your question.
That's the thing.
He did not practice Thursday after being limited in Wednesday's practice. He's got an ankle issue.
Yeah, that's the ankle. So, Pierce had to play too, try to give him some breaks, but they got to have some semblance of threat from the running game.
They got to have a running game to keep it, make it close,
because
or keep in the game.
Because I think, this is a hard one for me. 9. I know. Me too. I think I'm going to try the Texans at 9.
All right. Texans at 9.
I think I'm going to try it.
All right. Since we have Gessler in the studio, and he filled in so great last week. We have he's a Hall of Fame coach, as he laughs.
In my own mind.
Anyway, yeah, I'm going to basically. I've been listening to this all week long. You listen to different. That's one thing when you listen to experts, they're all over the board. Some people are taking the Texans, as to your point. Some people think no, Kansas City's going to come in
healthy.
and they're just going to wipe them out. It's not going to be a competitive. I'll take the Chiefs. I don't know. I'm going to go with that. I have a feeling, though, I won't be surprised if the Texans keep it close, because
I've heard a guy pick him, Greg Jennings, if you remember him.
Yeah, right.
Played for the Packers. He said he got a feeling there's something. He
may be right.
That it might be the upset. This is upset alert. That's what he picked.
It could be.
I mean, it could. He said that those edge rushers. I know Anderson has been crazy. It can't be. He's had been stopped by nobody. But if they slide that to that side, Danielle Hunter. He used to play the Vikings. That guy's an excellent pass rusher. What you going to do with him? You can't slide it. You got to block both of those guys.
Let's go next to tonight's game. Commanders at the Lions. This is now 8.5.
That's another funny one, too. That's
another one. Jaden Daniels, big win last week against Baker Mayfield, and the fumble and the Buccaneers, the fumble that cost Buccaneers the game. Now they still all want to fire Todd Bowles down there, because I've come to the conclusion that poor Todd Bowles is probably the most disliked head coach. I mean, I've been hearing this again. They said, well, if Todd Bowles loses this, he's on the hot seat. This guy wins the division every year. And boy, and the thing is, when you listen to Todd Bowles, he's so low key. He says, he never says anything out of the norm on the sideline. He stands there. He coaches the team. He doesn't scream at referees. He's not yelling at players. And he's, I think I always like him. I think he's really a good coach. The players love playing for this guy, but now Todd Bowles is on the hot seat. He loses the one playoff game on a bad fumble. Now they're questioning the call. It's Todd Bowles' fault that they called the play. And it's no, Baker.
He's not calling the offensive plays, and Baker held on to that
Baker
ball.
That fell right on Baker.
Yes,
not Todd Bowles' fault, but I heard a caller call in blaming Todd Bowles.
He didn't hold on to the ball.
He didn't call the play.
I think they win that game. That doesn't happen.
Oh no, if they 100%. If Tampa Bay doesn't fumble the ball in the fourth quarter and hand it back to Washington, Tampa Bay's playing. They win that game.
Mm-hmm.
But now they all want to fire Todd Bowles. It's I'm a Giant fan. I would love Todd Bowles to coach the New York Giants. He's better than Brian Daboll. And again, the Giants are keeping Daboll and Shane next year, and then he's going to get rid of him next year. I mean, that's what's going to happen. But
isn't this big points too for the Commanders?
I digress. Let's get back to this game. Commanders at the Lions, 8.5. A lot of wood, as we like to refer to it as. I don't know.
I mean,
Jaden Daniels is a wild card because he himself can keep this game close. Mm-hmm. And he's obviously not bothered by the stage. You think, a rookie coming in. No, Jaden Daniels has got ice water in those veins, man.
Yeah, I know.
He can make the plays. I mean,
what's so strange if you find out, and you might, when you watch the games, you don't watch all the pre-game shows. So
no, I can't do that.
But they just tell you the offensive scheme for the Redskins is just a vanilla scheme. It's so simple.
Right.
And he did it like that to make him be comfortable. And then he does, you see all that rushing he has? His is not designed runs. It's from breaking plays open, making big plays at big time.
He's just the instinct.
So it's a wild card.
Right.
With
he's
him.
He's one of the rare quarterbacks, I think, that has that natural instinct to react to what, and then he's so good at it, as a rookie. But you could just see he just knows what to do when to do it.
Right.
And you can't coach it. It's almost like improv, with actors. There's certain people just react. Like Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack. He didn't do lines. He did his bit. He just did what he naturally did.
Yeah, no.
He didn't know a line. They just said, Rodney, do your bit. He didn't act. He had no acting. He just did his thing.
Yeah.
But it's like Jaden Daniels. I'm not to say he's Rodney Dangerfield. I'm just saying, but he's like him. And when he's a quarterback, he just naturally knows what to do. And that's not like it's just a coach. No, he just knows his like football IQ has got to be through the charts.
And I want to take them, but the reason I can't, there's a machine on the other side of the Detroit line.
That's the other thing.
And you get David Montgomery back.
Yeah, they got
go with
Montgomery
Gibbs.
Back.
That is ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, you just can't. It's just they're going to score 30-something. I really believe that. I don't think Washington can stop them from scoring 30-something points.
That's what I think.
Can Washington score close to that? I don't know. I think they can get in the 20s, maybe. Maybe. Aaron Glenn does a great job with a tore up, team far as injury is concerned. He does a good job for a defensive coordinator to be able to do what they do.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn. Yeah. He's going to be. Yeah, he's going to be a head coach.
So
I don't know if he's going to go to the Jets.
I actually want them to win the whole thing.
Well, I have Detroit. My Super Bowl.
Even though I'm an Eagles fan, I wouldn't mind.
I'm a Browns fan.
Yeah,
I like Dan Campbell.
I just like how they play.
My prediction going into this year, I look back, was the Lions and the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and not that I'm that smart. I just felt that they're both potentially. I thought the Lions definitely. The Bills. I think a lot of the Bills I think they're just very underrated. But Josh Allen is just through the roof. And, he and you can make an arm wrestle between he and Lamar being the MVP. I don't know who it is. We're coming up on the fourth quarter. We'll finish this up and get to Ohio State, Notre Dame. Back after this.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
This is Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms, and your home for Phantoms hockey is Western Reserve Radio.
Ina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard, or call 234-254-8532.
I'm getting older. Do I need to worry about falling?
Yes, you do. Each year, 1 in 4 people 65 and older will experience a fall, and many will be serious. The majority of falls happen at home, so remove things that could make you trip and install handrails to keep you steady. To learn more about the steps you can take to help prevent a fall, please talk to your doctor. You can also visit aarpfoundation.org or medicaremadeclear.com/falls. This message was brought to you by United Healthcare and AARP Foundation.
Okay.
Saturday Morning Sports Page coming right back at you, 330-707-4202. Let's get back to the games. Ravens at the Eagles. Rams are at the Eagles.
Well, I'm going to take the Eagles. I have to. Can't go against them. Even though I know it's just, I can still take the Rams and the points and hope they lose. But, I just the Eagles, if they got to control the line of scrimmage, both sides. If they can do that, I think they can win.
I'll take the Eagles. They're home. It's 35 degrees, and it's going to be snowing, raining. Weather's going to be like pretty bad there. Although Hurts does concern me because he didn't look all that good against the Packers. He's been out with that concussion.
Yeah.
And he's got the skill. It's just he's been hurt. Hopefully
see how
he plays better this week than he did against.
You know, it's something they got to do, though. I don't know what would be going on, but and the guy makes me upset too. But they got to get A.J. Brown involved because even though I give it to him last week, usually when he's not involved, he's just out there. Last week, all through the game, I seen him blocking, doing everything downfield. So he was still engaged. But it's funny, they had showed him reading the book.
Yeah,
he read that book to keep his mind right because he's not getting the ball. You got to give, people say, well, they're divas. Well, he's a top flight receiver. You can't throw to him one time.
No.
You can't throw one time to A.J. Brown. Them guys are not going to be able to cover him like that. You got to get the ball to him and get him involved early. I think it's very important.
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm still staying Eagles all the way.
Home. I know these are tough games because they could go either way. Let's move on to the Ravens are at the Bills. And now that is 1.5. The Bills get 1.5. It's a home dog. The only home dog of the weekend. All three are home favorites. The Bills go into this as a home dog. They got beat they played the Ravens during the year. It was at the Sunday night game.
Yeah, that was like week 4.
And that was early on. Yeah. And they lost 35-10. The Bills had a chance to get back in that game, and then they ran that stupid trick play that blew up in their face.
Yeah.
And then Baltimore scored and off that, and then it was it. Then they were like that. They were done.
Yep.
Then the Bills lost the next week to Houston 23-20. That was a long time ago. Then they lost later on to the Rams. They beat Detroit, New England, the Jets. And that loss to New England didn't matter because they didn't play anybody.
Right.
So they had a very convincing victory over the Denver Broncos last week, 31-10, which surprised nobody. Now they're at home. They're getting 1.5. The weather up in Buffalo is typical Buffalo weather. They have it. This is at 6:30 at night. And it's going to be cold. It's going to be like, I know what it's going to be. It's Buffalo. It's 17 degrees. It's going to feel like 5 because of the wind chill.
Yeah.
So that's basically what you have going on there in Buffalo weather-wise. They actually have a winter storm watch, but this is not till Monday. Right now they're getting snow. They're getting rain, which goes to snow. Mm-hmm. It's so typical of Buffalo. But tomorrow the weather's going to be cold and a high of 22, low of 14. And again, it's going to feel like probably single digits. You got the picture here. No. Evidently, it's going to be dry,
right?
But it's just going to be cold. Buffalo cold weather. Okay. Ravens there, laying 1.5. They have played in cold weather.
Yeah,
I don't think that's really an issue.
Yeah, people
try to make more of that.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson will be fine. Derrick Henry can be the decider here.
Yeah.
He looks like he has a second lease on life as a running back because he looks like I saw him last week, and I just could not believe how fast he was.
No.
I knew he was a good running back. I knew he was a great running, but he just looked like he had a little extra zip in the step. I mean, he just was. I watched him run down the field, and I was,
and the guys wasn't gaining on him.
No, against the Steelers, he just ran
55 pounds. They're not even catching up.
No, that's it.
Even the backs weren't even catching up to him.
They couldn't keep up with him last week.
Yes, something I'm telling you.
That's Derrick Henry that goes to Buffalo. This is going to be a tough.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be. This could be the game of the year. It could be. It's going to be, I think, the game of the weekend. As far as it could be a classic game, is who has the ball last will win. Josh Allen is always the difference maker.
Yeah.
Wherever now could Josh Allen, kind of carry the team, but Baltimore with a Derrick Henry is a very dangerous team.
Right, and. Like I said, a lot of people are saying they're going with Josh. because Lamar's always had problems when it comes to. But
he never had Derrick Henry,
right? And that's why I told him. I said my thing is, I think that things will come down, and he's got to make a big play. He's got to do this. He's got to this now. Yes, he got to make big plays, but he don't have to do it all himself,
right?
And he can turn around and hand it off. And then another effective guy is the Hill, Justice Hill. You get him now; he's effective from the backfield. Too bad they don't have Flowers. They could definitely use him.
That does hurt.
That hurts them there. But I just think, as you said, Derrick Henry is that other weapon that when he sticks that ball in there, let's get Derrick. But Lamar pull it out. And he's a problem once he gets on the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably is the best running quarterback because he has running back instincts. Josh can run. Our guy Jaden Daniels can run, but he's got more running back type instincts when he runs. He's like a running back.
Yeah, he is.
Cut on a dime.
He's quicker.
Yeah,
he just has
in and out of cuts and stuff.
He's elusive. He knows how to break the line, go in holes, and you can see he's like naturally able to find the gap where he needs to run to.
Right,
and if he gets in a situation and he sees anywhere of an ounce of light, he shoots that gap, and he is so quick and elusive. Lamar Jackson just is all of a sudden he's got 6, 7, 8 yards. What was it? Was it a couple weeks he ran for the touchdown? He just ran away from everybody.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying.
It's just like this is what happened. It was just like, I thought he was running for the first down. Then I saw that he went through and no one was in front of him. I go, he's going to score.
No, I actually hate, for a fan, it's nice to see these teams playing each other. But in another way, I wish they were playing other teams. And then I can say, come on, Josh, you need to get to the Super Bowl. Or, come on, Lamar. Now it's down to them. I want Lamar to do something different. I want him, but it's almost sad that if Josh doesn't win,
right?
Because he's had the opportunity.
You're almost like because they're both likable guys. The teams are likable.
And I still hated that when he lost against Kansas City. You just knew it.
I know.
I had already get ready. I wasn't going to turn the TV off, but I was walking around doing something. I said, "Well, they got this." 18 seconds.
Well, everybody's hoping. No, I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of fans out there are hoping that somebody beats Kansas City.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a lot of folks.
Now, Kansas City is going to a place no other team has ever gone.
Right.
Is to win 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
The Packers back in the day won 2 Super Bowls. The year before, there was no Super Bowl. They beat the Cowboys. They would have played the Buffalo Bills back in 1965. Buffalo Bills beat the Chargers in the old AFL days.
Right.
Technically, the Packers would have played Buffalo if Super Bowl one was played in 66 instead of 67. It happened that way.
That's right.
So there are people out there that say, but the Green Bay Packers would have beat Buffalo, therefore they really would have had 3 Super Bowls. But I always say you don't know that.
So don't.
Everybody thought Minnesota was going to beat Kansas City back in 1970.
You for sure.
And that was like the second largest point spread. The first was the Jets and the Colts. Nobody gave the Colts nobody gave the Jets a chance. It was 18 points.
Yeah,
I believe the other point spread was 14. And Kansas City, and the sad part with that game, look how wrong they were, because Kansas City was by far the better team against Minnesota back in 1960. It would have been 1970, but the 69 season. That Kansas City team, I always thought was maybe one of the best teams in all of history if you look at the roster.
Yeah.
And it was a great, great team, but it was so underrated and like no respect. They were like the AFL. The Purple Gang will ride. I remember going in school, I was in 8th grade, and they were all talking about the Purple Gang will ride. The Purple Gang will ride. That was the Minnesota defense back in
People Eaters.
Yeah, the Purple People Eaters.
Yeah,
and they kept calling them that. They were the greatest defense ever. Blah 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 blah. And they showed up in that Super Bowl and had absolutely either nothing in their tank or they underestimated the Kansas City Chiefs, who were unbelievably great, and they blew out the can. And that was not a game. I watched that game. I was kind of rooting for the Vikings, and I was like, when are the Vikings going to get into this game?
No, they got dominated.
Dominated to the.
They got dominated.
And that play to Otis Taylor that broke it open was that little swing pass.
Yeah.
A missed tackle, and Otis Taylor went, I have to look it up, 70, 80 yards down the field, touchdown.
And I remember that
sealed the game. That was the game.
It was talking about they'll run this ball.
Yep.
With Mick Tingelhoff at the center position. He'll dominate. Curly Culp dominated Mick Tingelhoff. They couldn't do nothing with Bell and Lynch on the outside at linebacker.
No, they could not.
And I mean, Johnny Robinson at safety. These guys was loaded. And then that offense, they just, Mike Garrett, Warren McVay, they just did they did what they wanted. And I was loving it too, because I fell in love with the AFL.
Yep.
It was something about it. I kept watching it.
So it was such a great.
Yeah, and I just, I love this. This is great. This is great. They throwing the ball all over the place. The NFL was more of a running league mainly, and that was okay. But when you seen this, there's just so much things, all the innovations that the AFL had. And I just like watching AFL football. Just so seeing them beat the Vikings. And like you said, they didn't just beat them. That game, it was not a game. That was really not a good Super Bowl. They were dominated.
It was a 46-yard touchdown in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Otis Taylor made it 23-7. It was in the third quarter.
And it wasn't deep down the field, just a little out.
It was an out pass, and he missed tackle 46 yards down the field. Otis Taylor ran the ball, and then
high stepping into.
Just unbelievable. Otis Taylor was a great wide receiver. Unbelievable. And then I guess they were just saying, and we'll get back to this game. We do go off on our tangent, but the end of the game, they said the Minnesota Vikings had threw 3 interceptions in the game, and the game ended on an interception. Emmett Thomas picked off Gary Quazzo on the final play.
He came in for Cap.
Yep. Cap was poor Joe Cap.
Was getting destroyed.
He was getting absolutely drilled, strip sacked by Aaron Brown and Gary, and then that did him in after he got strip sacked by Aaron Brown, and then Gary Quazzo came in and filled in for Cap for the rest of the game. This is fourth quarter, and fittingly, the Vikings' final play was an interception. Quazzo threw to one of our favorite players, Emmett Thomas.
Yep.
So you had Otis Taylor, and that team was, like you said, Curly Culp. You could go on and on. That was like an all-star team.
It was great. That team was great. Elmo Wright.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Lenny
insane.
Dawson.
They even had the tight end who was blind in one eye, Fred Arbanis.
Yeah, Fred Arbanis.
And he was a great receiver. That guy wouldn't drop nothing.
And he was oh my gosh, that team.
Unbelievable.
What a great team.
Yep.
We do digress. But as we go back into that time capsule and come back to this present day, we do go back. And
I do. I like going back. I did love football. I mean, I love it now, but I really loved it back then. It was just something different.
They played that game at Tulane Stadium.
Yep.
And they still had unconditional blackout rules that they could not. This is the thing that in NFL to this day, there was a blackout. You could not see prohibited a live telecast from being shown in New Orleans. Right. So the New Orleans area did not see that game live because it was blacked out, because they had blackout rules in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And they did the same thing in 1971 down in Miami when the Colts beat
the Cowboys.
That was blacked out in Miami.
Yeah. Because
I was reading something on Facebook, and the guy said, I didn't get to see this game because he lived in the area. It was blacked out. So anyway.
Unbelievable.
The Bills and the Ravens, Dave Clark. I will go with the Buffalo Bills. Their home team.
Yep.
I've gone chalk here. Well,
I'm gonna go Ravens.
You're gonna go Ravens.
Yeah, just to go to the other side.
No, it's good.
That's gonna be.
I've got all chalk. The only one that I'm not real comfortable with is the Chiefs, because I don't know if the Chiefs can cover with the Texans. I just have this feeling that Kansas City is going to come out
Because they're going to be sluggish.
And they're going to be going, yeah. It's either they're going to come out like gangbusters and the Texans will come up with the weather, but I just think Kansas City's just going to, this could be an ugly game quick. I hope it's not, but I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. Let's go over to college real quick and get to the Buckeyes and Notre Dame. I still think it's funny that could you imagine if what I wonder is like, could you imagine if the Notre Dame coach decides to go and coach the Chicago Bears?
That'd be something.
Whew. I mean, Marcus Freeman could you imagine if the Bears give him a deal that he can't turn down and he's going to coach Caleb Williams and he's like, oh, all right, I'll take that job.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to. I think he's staying ND, but
it's
he
intriguing.
has a good relationship with this Kevin Warren, who's like the president of Chicago Bears. I believe he is good friends. He and Marcus Freeman have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
And so because Kevin Warren was I believe, he was the president of the Big Ten.
Right.
But he and Freeman know one another and have a good relationship. So that's one reason why they were saying he might end up going there is because Warren wants him. Now, I don't know. Mike McCarthy's name is coming up in the conversation. So,
but yeah,
I think
he's big in that. So.
He's big. And if I was McCarthy, I would take the Bears over the Saints just because, Saints are in cap hell. The quarterback I would want the young quarterback under the rookie contract.
Build the rest of the
team.
And
you can build that team up.
And you know the division.
And that's the problem with the Cowboys. Right.
Division.
Right. Yeah, he's familiar with where I don't think the Cowboy job is that good. Not only Jerry, but you're giving Dak Prescott $61 million. You're killing the rest of that team because it's like now where do you spread the money to get the team better?
Yeah.
Because once you start giving the quarterback that much money, and to me, Dak is an average quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback.
Right.
He's not in the conversation. I don't know if he's in the top 10. We can get into that next week, but that's my take. But anyway, getting back to this, the Ohio State and the Notre Dame game, I believe the point spread is 8. Yeah, I think it was 8.5. 8.5. So what do you think, Dave Clark?
8.5. That's a lot. Again,
I'll tell you what I'm doing because I've been.
I think I'm gonna take them. 8.5. I don't know if they can keep up offensively.
I'm taking Ohio State because I've taken them all. I've taken them all through the playoffs, and I've been laying points. All the playoffs, I took them against Oregon. I took them against Texas. I laid the points. I took them against Tennessee and laid the 7.5. And I'm just going to do it again.
I just don't think they.
It could be a game. Tight? It could be a real close game. I don't rule out Notre Dame making this tight.
I don't think they can.
I just think that if Ohio State,
I don't think they can score with them. I'm taking.
They didn't play good against Texas. They won, but they didn't play that good. That offense had too many stupid penalties and mistakes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm worried about, them tightening up. Now it's a big
or did they get it out of their system?
Yeah, I hope. It's a bigger stage.
Did you say
I'm going to go ahead and take Ohio State. I just don't think Notre Dame can score enough points. I don't know if they can. They create things happening. They know how to turn the ball over, get people to turn it over, but I don't know. I'm just going to go with Ohio State now.
I'll take the Buckeyes. I'm gonna go with it and kind of take it till it doesn't work, and I'll take the Buckeyes and because I've done it all, and I just think that and Ryan Day's not going anywhere unless an NFL job comes calling for him. I don't know if he wants an NFL job. Yeah. See, I don't know if any of these college coaches really want to get into the NFL. Because the landscape is so much different. Now, granted, you have NIL, but now they're bringing in GMs, so the GMs can deal the NIL and deal with, and they're getting the money. Mm-hmm. You don't have the interference and the second guessing from a GM or the president of operations.
Yeah.
Or who was the one if the New York Jets, the owner, the son was using the
oh yeah, I remember you talking about.
Not Game Boy, but it's the
I know what she's talking. I can't. I can't. About.
But we know anyway. Yeah. You don't have noise. You don't have like other people second guessing you on the college level like you do the NFL level.
Right. You might not want to deal with that. You may not want to. But like I said, it's always what's in the guy's challenge. What's that in his, you know, you got it down on a list. This is something I want to accomplish.
Right.
So is this the best time to, I think you win. Well, maybe this is a good time to go.
Well, that's the interesting part's going to be if the winner of Ohio State Notre Dame game, will that coach be recruited by the NFL, and will that coach potentially take that job because you just hit it? It'll be like the old bucket list. I won a college title. I won an NCAA title like Harbaugh did, and then went to the pros. Does that happen this year if either Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman win a national title game? Do they go to the NFL? Because it's kind of like the bucket list. And Kevin Warren knows Marcus Freeman, and there's a relationship there.
Mm-hmm.
Could he ultimately go and coach at the Chicago Bears? I don't know where Day would fall in and what job he would take if that's potentially out there.
Right.
But the job, like I said, right now there are 7 openings. Now, could there be another opening? Who knows in the NFL? I don't rule anything out. But right now there are 7 openings, and one has been filled, the Patriots. So now there's 6 open jobs there.
Right.
So 6 openings, and you got to figure if you're going to sit here and talk about it, Mike McCarthy's probably getting one of them.
Yeah, you would think.
I would think that.
Yeah.
Either New Orleans or the Bears. Who else? I don't know. And then Brady, who's that offensive coordinator for Joe Brady for the Lions. He's coaching right now, so he obviously, if he gets a job, it won't be till after the Lions are eliminated.
Well, he's with Buffalo.
Brady's with Buffalo.
But Johnson is the guy you're thinking of too, the offensive coordinator for the Lions.
Yeah, that's it.
He's up too.
Brady's right. They're both up. Johnson and Brady, right.
They both are.
Brady and they're both up. That's right. He's with Buffalo, right.
Yep.
The bottom line,
his name come up in Johnson for
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron
Glenn's in the mix for one of these jobs.
Now the offense coordinator for the Texans, Bobby Slowick, he's up for.
He's up.
That's what I'm trying to think. All these,
right? You got to look at all these coordinators.
Spags has been up for. Name has came up about different head coaching jobs.
Potentially. Now, he tried before and failed as a head coach, but that doesn't mean
he wouldn't try it again.
He wouldn't try it again if they can't
He's
call
in a great spot where he's at, though.
But I don't know if he's leaving because they're paying him a lot of money to be and he likes,
Yeah, and they got a great system.
They got a great system, and they keep winning
all the way until Andy Reid leaves, and Andy Reid says over, I'd be looking then, or maybe he might become the head coach. He's there.
Maybe. I don't know if Andy Reid's leaving anytime soon because I think
Andy Reid is this is around my age, so maybe a couple years older.
Andy Reid is basically up to he's 60, believe he is 66.
Yep, I knew he's around the same age.
Yeah, I believe Andy Reid is 66.
Older than me. Yep.
Yeah, born in 1958, March 19th of 58. He's 66 years old. So I don't think he's going. I think he personally, my take is, he will ride out the Patrick Mahomes way as long as he can. Reid.
Yeah.
Because he's got the quarterback.
Yeah.
And Mahomes makes everything happen.
Right.
And he is by far the best in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen and Lamar are right there, I think,
they're
coming
in
the discussion. But Mahomes is still the best quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I think Andy Reid is going to ride him out till as long as he's there. We got I think that's Irish Mike.
Call just before time, huh? Got a couple minutes.
Saturday morning sports page.
Hi, Pat, Dave. I know you guys got a few minutes left. I apologize. I've been running around like crazy. I just wanted to touch base with you very quickly.
Who's your pick?
I can't wait for the Bills-Ravens game tomorrow. I can tell you that.
I bet you can.
I think that's a great game.
Me too.
It is.
So
Yeah.
It's a great game. What are you guys picking the Ohio State Notre Dame game? By the way, I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Ravens, and I know they're the favorite, but I can't wait to watch that game as a fan.
Yeah, that might be the best of the weekend,
and it's perfect.
Wow,
6:30 on Sunday. Isn't it great?
Great game.
Sunday.
Last game.
To answer your question, we went with Ohio State and laid the 8.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rough one for Notre Dame. I mean, I thought I was going to catch up to them at Penn State, losing Riley Mills and all those guys up front. I worry about stopping Ohio State's run game, believe it or not.
Yeah,
that's what I worry about. Undersized up front on the defensive line, that's a very much a concern.
Yeah.
People laugh at me because the receivers, I said, no, the running game is what I'm concerned about.
Right.
The last couple of years, traditionally, Notre Dame's did pretty good against that passing game down in Columbus and then again in South Bend.
They did.
They had great receivers, so... obviously, no matter what happens, I'll let you guys on the good note on this, but, Marcus Freeman's done a wonderful job this season, being beyond anything dreamed of, winning a Sugar Bowl and Orange Bowl in less than a week, and Notre Dame went so long without winning a major bowl game. And I do believe if they don't win Monday night, they're going to win a national championship in the next 2 or 3 years. So they're going to be a top 5 program for years and years to come. They're not going to drop back off the pack like Michigan did after last year.
No.
They're going to continue to emerge.
Oh, no doubt. No, as long as Marcus Freeman doesn't go to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Or don't be surprised if Ryan Day doesn't go to the Chicago Bears.
Well, that's
that one either.
We said that earlier. We just basically said who would if the winner of this game doesn't go to the NFL, or do they go to if the winner goes to the Chicago Bears? I don't know if that's going to happen. Ryan Day,
located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment.
Yeah. Who's your pick there, Irish Mike? You there?
No. It took him out.
Well, we got our Applewood Swim Terrace.
He'll probably send it to you on the phone. Yep. So hopefully, I'm wondering what he'll pick, but I'm sure he'll send it to you.
Yeah.
See what happened.
Have a great, safe week. Enjoy your games. Do not drink and do not drive. Saturday morning sports page.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem Sports Talk is on the iMedia One Network. Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast.
Alexander.
National League MVP Shohei is your short shot at 2-1. To me, this is a bet. And I know it's only 2-1, and I know that's not very sexy, but I don't know if you know this about Shohei Ohtani. He doesn't only swing the bat, also pitches this year. And if he is as good as we remember him doing that, I don't know how you can vote for anybody else.
A numbers game. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern on SiriusXM 158 and on the SiriusXM app.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network. This is VSiN's Tailgate Show, only on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Happy Saturday, happy divisional round weekend, loaded holiday weekend with most of you off on Monday. We've got 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow, and then the national championship on Monday. Media Day going on right now in Atlanta, Georgia, as Notre Dame and Ohio State meeting with the media down there. I think I saw Joey Chestnut down there taking some selfies with players. Just don't make them eat 50 hot dogs there, Joey. Just let them do their thing. But I wouldn't say it's the same level of madness that we see at Super Bowl Media Day, but certainly feels like plenty of folks down at Media Day. Notre Dame and Ohio State right now seeing a little bit of under money hit the market as of last night on the national championship, down to 45.5. Spread still sits at 8 there in favor of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Just heard from Mike Sanford, who his number 24-21. He's going with the Irish to pull the outright upset. Now, I will say this, and Mike was joking about it. I don't know if you caught this. He has been rather pessimistic. He and I had a text exchange in, I want to say, late October. And he said, one of the service academies will get him. And he thought it would be Army. And he stuck to his guns. And obviously he was really wrong on that one. But he's all in on Notre Dame here. We'll get more perspective on this game. Matt Newman's coming up in less than 15 minutes. We'll get his thoughts on the college basketball slate, a monster showdown at Rupp Arena coming up in less than an hour. Kentucky taking on Alabama. Alabama looking to bounce back after losing to Ole Miss earlier this week. 74-64, held to a season low 64 points. How about the total at Rupp Arena? 177.